Hello, viewers. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are from. This is your host, Aijaz Qureshi, all the way from Toronto, Canada, with today's episode of the Aijaz Qureshi Show. Today, I'm really honored to have a great friend of mine. She has been connected for many years, but never got a chance to really host her on my show. Her name is Vittal. Anu Vittal is a life coach. She's an intuitive healer and artful culture connector. She is a great person, and she's going to talk about art and culture. That's what she's famous for. That's what I know her for. She has a multifaceted personality. We'll find out what she does beside art and culture. But today's topic is art and culture to support mental health and overcome depression, because we are going through very difficult time these days, unprecedented times that we have never faced before. The whole world is under lockdown and going through lots of different challenges, mentally and physically and financially and all those kind of things, and they all have impact on our brain, and on us, who we are and how we react to this situation. Anu Vittal is from Toronto, so she's also a Torontonian, our neighbor here, and she's an award-winning Canadian entrepreneur. She's a visual artist, and she's a writer and a life coach, and she is the CEO of AVC Inc. And she believes in empowering people to create, connect, and celebrate together. Let's welcome our esteemed guest, Anu Vittal, on the show. Anu, good afternoon in Toronto. How are you?
Good afternoon, and I'm feeling fabulous. Thank you, Aijaz, for hosting this wonderful show and connecting humanity across the globe.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's wonderful. So before we head into the show, let me take you back to your childhood, Anu. When you were 3, 4, or a little older, or a little younger than that, what is the earliest memory you recall?
Well, as a child, growing up, I grew up in India, so I'm very grateful for having that beautiful cultural background that I share with so many fellow Canadians today. And I think for me, art and culture was such an integral part. I learned Bharatanatyam, which is a classical Indian dance form,
Mm-hmm.
growing up. And art to me was a way to escape into a fantasy world, to be able to create and showcase what I kind of believed was my world, my internal world. And a lot of people like to pick up pictures or copy something or paint from a visual that they see. But at a young age, I kind of was an abstract expressionist, because I felt that painting from feelings was very important.
Yes.
And I think that's something I celebrate every single day today.
Awesome. That's great. Well, definitely India is colorful and rich in colors. Everything like the festival of Holi is a wonderful example of that. And today on the show you're representing colors as well, right? The colors are
Mhm.
everywhere. Everywhere I see a beautiful painting in the back, and in your dress as well. Thank you so much. So today we're going to talk about the topic, art and culture to support mental health. Let's talk about why people get depression. What are the root cause or causes to feel depressed?
So, depression or sadness typically comes from our feelings, and our feelings are always coming from the thoughts that are going on in our mind. There's a
Mm,
constant chatter of different things from different experiences that we
mm,
had
mm,
growing up as children. So, usually, the feelings associated with depression are what we call the lower vibrations, such as guilt, shame, hurt, grief, um, fear, whereby you are experiencing somewhat the unknown, that kind of gives your brain a message where it's really trying to figure out why, what, how something has affected you.
mm,
So it is never a, oftentimes it's given a negative connotation to have depression, but depression is a very normal thing. We all experience it in sometimes very mild formats,
Mm.
which can last 15 minutes to a little bit more intense feeling that can go from a day to a week to a month, and that's when we need to start paying more attention to it. But when you start to feel it for shorter moments, and it could be something very simple that just happened, maybe it's a phone call that you got from a friend
Mm.
that kind of upset you, and it's really easy at that time to overcome it, because once you become aware, which is one of the most critical points, you're able to then actually do something very nice for that friend. Send them a little note to say how much you appreciated that call, or if there was something that was bothering you from that call, share that
Mm.
information. So
Mm.
that release of energy, which is stored in a feeling format, whether it's grief, pain, guilt, it gets transformed. And when it gets transformed, the energy gets released, and then it allows for the other person in the equation or the experience to give you a completely different perspective.
Right.
So, depression is natural, it is even essential for us to be able to understand the importance of happiness, joy, and bliss in our lives.
Mm. That's great. That's great. That's a great definition of depression. Now, there are two things related to that. One is depression, the other thing is anxiety,
Mhm.
right? So, where would you put anxiety in there, in that equation?
So mild anxiety is, again, quite essential, because that slight amount of stress or the boost of adrenaline in your system actually allows you to perform better. So
Mm.
imagine you're, running a race, and you're, you know, 10, 15, 10, 12 years old, and you're excited, you're a little bit stressed, you feel butterflies in your stomach, and that actually drives you to perform better. And a lot of times, the I guess, belief is that we think with our minds, but the fact of the matter is we actually think between the thymus and the navel. So when you feel anxiety, you might feel the um, equation more in your head from what the experience brings to you, but the
Mm.
actual intuitive feeling of it is why we call it butterflies in your tummy. It's like when you go to an interview, before going to the interview, you start to feel funny in your tummy. Or, when you're going to meet your girlfriend on her or boyfriend for your first date, you feel it in your tummy. It's anxiety, right?
That's right.
So it's not a bad thing. Where you need to really pay attention is when you start to get a panic attack, to have difficulty breathing, when it becomes so overwhelming that you are, driven to possibly doing negative things, where emotions are beyond your control. One of the best things I say to people at that time is just find your anchor in your breath
That's it.
and let that guide you forward.
Right.
If not, pick up the phone, reach out to a friend. Uh, if there's no one available, write it down. Writing down your feelings always transforms the energy into a better space
Yeah.
and allows you to then look at it from a different perspective and
Yeah.
reduces your anxiety.
Right. So never suffer alone. Always share with people so that you feel better at mind, at heart as well. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Great. Awesome. So that's good. So how did you get involved into the writing and art and all that? When, and where did you start that?
So many people don't know the secret, but
No, that's what I want to
I
know on this show.
was I was a very shy child, and I had a very difficult time expressing my emotions.
So
So
you
a lot.
were you an introvert?
I don't. I guess I was, because I was what I would call the super geek. I was
Mm.
always in my books reading.
Mm.
Didn't really want. I did like physical activities and going out and riding my bicycle,
Uh-huh.
but I think I was a lot in my own head. And when it came to expressing myself verbally, I found it so difficult. I know it doesn't sound like it right now, but so I got into the habit of writing, and I would write long letters to my parents to express my feelings. And their bedroom was literally 6 feet away from mine, just
Mm.
like the lockdown that we're suffering. But I somehow felt that I was able to communicate better. So it became a great outlet for emotional release. Similarly, painting or writing poetry was for me to be able to express what I was feeling. Maybe it was a negative emotion like hurt, pain, guilt,
Mm.
shame, fear. I could put it really better in words on paper than I could speak.
Wow.
And so I would say probably I started doing this around the age of 10,
Wow.
and I love it.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So, do you paint abstract or you paint something real?
Um, Growing up, I learned different formats,
Mm-hmm.
including landscape,
Mm-hmm.
portrait, watercolors, and different mediums that I would use. I would say, as an artist, we all evolve with life experiences, and going into an abstraction format was essential. Again, going back to feelings. So, an abstract expressionist, say, for example, Kandinsky, uh, typically paints people's thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and so do I. Now,
Mm.
people say, how can you paint someone's feeling? And it's funny because you have to experience that feeling to paint it. And I get sometimes commissioned by my clients, and they give me very specific sentences that speak about their personal experiences or embellish their um, celebrations in life that they want me to create from. And mostly what I do is I allow for that feeling, thought, or emotion to stay within. And in my subconscious, typically at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll get some kind of a divine message, which
Wow.
allows me then to express that onto canvas in colors. And if I'm
Awesome.
writing in words on
That's
paper.
great. That's great. So you paint, you said you paint for clients. So so clients come to you and they ask you for a specific artwork that they want drawn or painted. Is that right?
Correct. That's
Okay.
right. Yes.
And they tell you the size that I want for my living room, and I want this like 10 by 10 or something like that, or do they tell you that?
Yes, a lot of people have specifications, and it's a very beautiful experience to co create with a client
With the
because,
client, yes.
yes, or with another person, because in that co creation opportunity, you will really get to connect soulfully with that person. They
Right.
get an opportunity to express their um, most authentic feeling for the visual that they would ideally like to see on the canvas eventually.
Hmm.
So, this kind of an interaction is so necessary, whether it's music, dance, theater, film, the opportunity for soul to soul connection, the opportunity for interaction allows you to blossom better and
Right.
showcase the piece better. So I really enjoy that experience
Awesome.
because it's a continuous process from the first meeting till the last point where the painting is actually in their home,
Done. Yes.
and they feel so special because they were part of it.
Exactly. That's great. And where would you paint that? On their property or your property, your studios, or where would you do that?
That's a really good question, and I've done a combination of things. So typically, the process would start in my own studio
Okay.
because I have a meditative technique to allowing those feelings to organically flow from a soul space. So I do like to be alone when I'm in the initial phase of creation. But there have been times when I've taken a piece to a client's place to get their opinion, to place it in that specific area that they'd like to see it. Or a lot of times when I do mixed media, I use a medium called epoxy resin.
Hmm.
And it's a medium that allows for especially biodegradable materials, which are like leaves that I've used before in my work.
Hmm.
It could be a zardosi, a piece of embroidery, or a sari. I've even used garam masala.
Really?
Yeah, it was for a restaurant.
That must be for a
And
restaurant. Yeah, I was about to say that.
yes,
Wow.
yes. So you know, you want to be able to then do the epoxy resin, leave it in a space
Yeah.
that it can cure, and then you just eventually the client
Awesome.
positions it in their space.
Awesome. That's great. One more thing I wanted to know, Anu, was do you use brighter colors or you use subtle colors? How do you go about it? And what makes you decide that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think as artists, we would generally have favorite colors. For me, it's always the colors of the sunset. So
Ah,
almost all of my paintings are
orange, red, and yeah. Okay.
some of those
Yellow.
colors, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. But the
Mm,
more I think about it, the more I realize that the sunsets can be in multiple colors. You can see lavender hues and
mm,
turquoises, and I've really tried really hard to move away from very bright colors to
okay.
more pastel shades. But in the end, it's also the feelings. Like, when you hear music and you're listening to a suspense-filled music in a movie scene, you realize it adds great value. So
Right.
similarly, colors add value to the mood of the piece or the feeling.
Mm,
So typically, I guess I would really allow for that to come as a more natural process.
awesome.
But I do personally, I like bright colors. I
That's
think
good.
they make you happy. And you know that different colors bring out different moods. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
red is all vibrant and orange
Yeah.
is all energy and blue is more calming.
Right.
Yeah, so I'll just use colors really to showcase that feeling in the best way possible.
Awesome. That's great. We'll talk more about colors after these couple of comments. I got here Aksa Shahid is saying, Mashallah, thank you so much for your comment. Appreciate it. And Fatma Ramzan is saying she's a fitness enthusiast or great person, great friend of mine from Faisalabad. She's saying, nice to see you, sir. Aijaz Qureshi. Thank you so much. So nice of you for hopping on the show. Great. So, do your clients tell you to use certain colors?
Yeah,
Sometimes.
so obviously, I mean, it's their piece, and in the co-creation process, they do request a certain shade of colors or some nuances that they'd like to see. For example, I had a client from Johannesburg who moved to Canada, and
Mm,
we have 6 to 8 months of cold, and they found it really hard to overcome the feeling of gloom that would sort of hit them when they walked into the door.
mm.
And they said, "Can you paint something full of sunshine and
Yeah,
sand?"
brighter. Yes.
So I've used yellows and aqua, and we placed it in the foyer of
Mm,
their home. And they had these beautiful skylights. And as soon as they would walk in and see this beautiful yellow, sunshiny, bright color, they would fill up with joy. And they said that's what it made them feel. So, yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. Mhm.
Awesome. Great, great, great. So, going back to the topic, Anu, how is the current situation, affecting on us, on our brains, on our mental health? How is it affecting?
This is a unique time in history, I'd like to say that, because
Yes.
difficulties come and go, and everything in life is about duality, whether it's the sun and the nighttime, the stars in the night. There's always going to be that reflection of dark and light, pain and pleasure, and it's a continuous process in our lives. However, this is very significant this particular time because it's affected all of us at the same time. And a
Mm,
lot of people say that we are all in different boats but in the same storm. So everyone has a unique ability to discern and combat this situation, and it all really comes down to our belief systems. It comes down to our own life experiences. And the fact is that when we were created on this universe through our mothers, and they gave birth to us so that we could expand as multidimensional beings. So the opportunity exists every single day for us to become better human beings. So we are actually giving birth to a newer version every single day. And so typically, when challenging times hit you, um, it is very normal to feel pain or to feel the difficulty of it, and it's necessary. But the next step in the awareness of this pain is what we call in our in psychology as radical acceptance. By
Hmm.
radically accepting a situation just as it is, what will happen is you'll allow your perception or your belief system to expand. And let me give you an example of, say, someone like my favorite, Steve Harvey, who
Hmm.
growing up in a small town in the United States in the early 1900s, he couldn't fathom being a TV star
Hmm.
because there really weren't many black people on television. And
That's
when
right.
he wrote an essay for school, his teacher looked at the essay and said, "This is impossible. You can," and the essay he wrote about him being on TV. And she said, "That's never going to happen." And he went home crying. He was upset. So,
Yeah.
his dad said to him, "I want you to write down on a sheet of paper that I will become an amazing TV star. I want you to read it once in the morning and once at night before you go to school, or before you go to bed, rather." And he went and spoke with the teacher, and he said to the teacher in front of Steve that my son can be whoever he wants to be.
Hmm.
And that sense of will and purpose and intention is necessary. So today, for us to be able to say that this is a God-given opportunity, for each one it's going to be unique. For some, it's a beautiful time to spend with your parents, your kids. For others, it's a great way to develop a new hobby. And everyone's finding their own niche in the what I would say difficult situation or the storm that we're facing in.
Yeah.
So it's an introspective phase for us to dig deep and see what can we do
Yes.
differently. And I see a lot of creativity. I see people from making funky masks to cooking and baking, and really do one thing that is beautiful for someone else, that makes their life happy. And I can tell you that one little thing, whether it's cooking a meal or making a snack for someone or buying coffee for a homeless person on the street, will bring you so much joy. Your soul will light up. So use this opportunity to really not just look at why it's difficult and hard for all of us. And there are some who don't have food, whose businesses are affected, and it cannot always be a super rosy picture. But in everything, there is a message from the universe, a lesson for us to learn, and that is a unique experience for each one of us to really dig down deep and understand why is this happening to me? What is the lesson? What is the lesson in this beautiful experience?
Awesome. Awesome. That's great. I got a couple of more comments here from Yasmin Dubash saying, "Hey, Anu, so nice to see you on Chat Show. Thank you so much. So nice of you, Yasmin, for hopping on the show. Keep watching." Pradeep Sevak is saying, "Wow, Anu, awesome chat with Sir Qureshi." He sent a rose as well. Thank you so much. Congratulations. So nice of you. Thank you. Great. So, uh, so how the art and the culture is bridging the gap of between our mental health and the depression that we have, and keeping us sane during these difficult times.
Yeah, that's a fabulous question. So, the heart, mind, and soul are sort of three parameters that really allow us to connect authentically to our life experiences and engage us with other people or souls in the world. So, what culture does, and I want to take you back to the time when, We Are the World was sung in Africa, when, music is created like Gangnam Style or Why This Color D. These are such radically different cultural expressions. One is from Korea, one is for the whole world singing for Africa, the other one was in South India, in Tamil Nadu. But when some kind of a creation is made in a soul space, like a soul studio, like
Hmm.
right from here, which is a true, authentic origin,
Hmm.
because any creation, whether it's music, dance, theater, festival, a photograph, or food, it has to come from that place where you want to bring joy
Hmm.
first to your own self, because
Right.
everything starts with you. And then you create that to be able to share it with others. And that kind of a creation connects culturally across mediums because it's so authentic and pure. You don't need a language. You don't need anything special because we just feel connected by that. Look at Gangnam Style. It connected the entire world. It was sung in a language that many people don't understand, but
Yeah,
everybody was dancing to it, right?
that's right.
So culture is universal. Culture is a great connector and a bond because humans will connect to anything that is um, pleasing and making them feel good. And I feel like that's the essential role that culture plays. And coming from a country like Canada, we should all be so proud that we have more than 180 countries represented. And I always talk about walking down Yonge Street and you can listen to Bhangra music, drink an Irish
Exactly.
beer,
That's right.
eat a pierogi, or
True.
have a cheese manakish at an Arabic restaurant. Like, how
That's right.
lucky are we?
Yes, that's right. That's right. Great. Um, so tell us about your writing and how did you become a writer and author? What made you do that?
I would say there has been a personal turning point, and we all do have it at several points in our lives. And those moments, which are uh, integral to that journey of life, allow us to first sort of stay in that moment, stay in that expression or that experience. And from it, we would like to then share. Most of us as artists or writers or people who create music, and that brings, I guess, a meaning to that expression. And you want to be able to say to someone, hey, I had this experience and I want to share it with you. There might be other people going through that similar experience that connect to it. So for me, writing began from an introspective journey where I was trying to um, understand the profoundness of pain and the importance of it in our lives,
Hmm,
um, and to be able to allow for that to be a connector to the rest of the world. I think that's where the journey started for me for writing.
awesome. Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much. So, anything else you want to add towards the topic that you had in your mind and I didn't ask you about that?
Uh, so I wanted to share something that is relatively new
Yes.
in terms of helping with depression. It's called ASMR. It's
ASMR.
yes, I don't know if you've heard of it.
I haven't.
It's an autosensory meridian receptors that we have in our brain.
Hmm.
And what has been noticed over the years that there are certain pleasant sounds that um, we are able to hear, whether it's something nostalgic from a memory that you had. It could be tinkling bangles while your grandmother was cooking a meal.
Hmm.
It could be, the wafting aroma of a fresh bread bake. It could be the sounds of the ocean. So what these ASM, what they do, these kind of uh, experiences or sounds or uh, emotional triggers, they basically allow your brain to go into this state of pure joy. I've seen a lot of times in a symphony, for example, at the Toronto Symphony, people go to sleep. And I said, isn't that disrespectful? I told my
Hmm.
friend, her husband plays the violin, and I said, isn't that disrespectful that they're sleeping while these people are performing? And he said, no, that's perfectly fine because
They
fact
went into the
is,
trance and yeah, they're enjoying and they're
yes.
peaceful at mind. Only, you can only sleep when you have peace at mind. So yes,
So you're so relaxed. And it's
yes,
like, when a mom sings a lullaby to a baby, or you hear the sounds of the ocean and
that's
you're
right.
getting a nice massage, that you just automatically fall. So there's a lot of these sounds and tapes and recordings
Hmm.
available on the
Hmm.
internet. I highly recommend this as an opportunity for people to tap into this process and see how it helps them. The second thing I'd like to talk about is hypnotherapy. I have been blessed to heal many people, and in a few short minutes, as less as 5 minutes, the people fall into this beautiful trance, which allows for their subconscious mind to deal with a lot of the challenges, pain, and problems that they're facing, and allows them to release it. And this becomes very necessary because, like you said, we're all going through stress during this lockdown, and tempers are running short, and people are going through some life-changing situations. And it's important to recognize that the other soul is also going through the same process. So holding a space of compassionate love for the other soul on the journey becomes very necessary, because we are quick to judge. We would like to snap at someone, but if you just want to take a step back, breathe into yourself, and just say, hey, they're just a soul on a journey. They're filled with love.
Yeah.
They are going through something difficult just like I am. And I just want to hold a space of compassionate love.
Great.
So what it does first for you as a person, it dissipates the anger, the fear, the negative emotions from your own system. And automatically it transcends and connects to the other soul. Because whatever you do in terms of whatever you experience is always the experience that you have for yourself, whether it's anger, guilt, or shame. Say, for example, you're angry, and this person that you're angry about is 11,500 kilometers away. You think they're affected by it? No,
you
are
can't do
affected
anything
by
about it. Exactly.
They are probably sitting on a beach somewhere, sipping on a pina colada and enjoying themselves. So
that's it. Exactly.
Whatever emotion you bring into your own aura in your biosphere is a gift to you. So would you not choose a better feeling? And I'm not saying, you won't get angry. It's normal to get angry, and it's fine. But breathe into it. Allow for self acceptance of this radical emotion, and then become aware to it and really think, is it necessary? How do I deal with this? I mean, can I just have a nice conversation and calm myself down and really connect with this person instead of getting upset and angry? Is that going to solve the situation?
Right. Great. So towards the end, before we head into our next segment, what would be your suggestions? I would say top 3 suggestions in order to calm our mind in the current situation, the current condition of lockdown, self-lockdown, be it self-lockdown like we have here in Canada, or be it mandatory lockdown as in Southeast Asia or South Asia.
So change always begins from within, and we cannot change anyone, not our children, not our spouse, not our parents. You can try as much as you want, but you bang your head against a wall, which is not going to bring you any results. So when you start to make a change within yourself and include certain practices that bring mindfulness, whether it's meditation, going for a walk by the beach or in the park, or whatever makes you feel good, that's very integral. Taking 10 minutes to 30 minutes, ideally, in a day is essential. 2, think of one thing every day that you can do for someone else. So I'm doing this little thing for a dear friend of mine who's about 75 years old. She's not tech savvy. She loves to listen to old Hindi songs. So every day I call her up and I become her personal DJ. And I say to her, Auntie, what would you like to listen to today? And then she'll give me her request, and I'll play 3 melodious old songs that will bring joy to her soul. So nice. You can get creative and fun in doing these things. It could be a little meal that you made for someone, or you shared a recipe, or you just call someone and literally listen. Right. Without giving any advice, you just listen.
That's right.
And last but not least, it's a time of introspection. I would really say for every single one of us, dig down. You were created in this universe as a masterpiece. You have a beautiful gift to give to us, all 7 billion of us. And what is that beautiful gift that you want to give us? And it could be something very simple. It could be something very magnanimous, like Tesla, what they're doing. But whatever it is, right. Maybe reading a little paragraph from a book to an older person in your family, or spending 10 minutes asking them what's their secret mantra for happiness. I mean, it really depends on each individual, right. In their journey, where they are, and what they'd like to see as soon as we step forward in this journey that we're all going through.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much. So we'll take the final message later, but let's head into the next segment, which is called You and Q. Q for Qureshi. So U and Q. In this, we play a rapid fire. I'll be giving you a word, and then you will be responding back in a sentence, whatever comes to your mind with regards to hearing that word. All right?
Sure.
Uncensored.
Yeah, you kept that a secret from me.
It is that exactly. So that's the beauty of this segment. So we don't tell people that we're going to play this segment. And this is necessary. Lots of people have given great feedback to me that they like this segment because after a serious discussion, it lightens up the mood, and so that whatever we talk, it can sink in nicely into their heads. All right, so are you ready?
Yes.
All right, the first word is home.
Happiness.
Happiness. The next word is tea.
Oh, serenity.
Serenity. Air.
Joy.
Joy. Horse.
Playfulness.
Playfulness. Mountain.
Tenacity.
Tenacity. Vada pav.
Oh my gosh, I just had one the other day. Oh my gosh, it was like heaven.
Heaven. That's good. That's good. Flower.
Creation.
Great. Spoon.
Fulfillment.
Fulfillment. That's good. In any way, right?
Absolutely. When you have a delightful meal, whether you're a little baby or a grown-up, I mean, that spoon brings you ultimate joy, and
That's it, exactly.
digging into your ice cream until the end, last spoon of it.
That's it.
It's
Last bit of it, exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
Next word is friend.
Loyal.
Loyal. Love.
Pure.
Pure. Owl.
It's an interesting bird, actually. I would say interesting.
Interesting. Okay. Success.
Failure.
Failure. Success comes with failure. That's good. Story.
Emotional.
Emotional. Wow. Donkey.
Useful.
Useful.
Yeah.
That's good.
I went
That's
on a
good.
Himalayan trek, and we had a group of, I think, 3 or 4 donkeys, and they carried the load of all of the cargo when we
I
were
know. Yeah.
traveling. And I thought, my gosh, they're so useful, and it's amazing what they're doing for us.
That's right. That's right. Hen.
Good morning. I remember growing up at my grandmother's house, so they had a farm, and we would always hear this wake-up call in the morning.
Uh-huh. That's good. Next word is the mother-in-law.
Friend.
Friend. That's good. Peace.
Essential.
Essential. Soul.
Authentic.
Seriousness.
Happiness.
Happiness. Driver.
I would say cautious.
Cautious. Friendship.
Integral.
Integral. Leader.
Empathy.
Empathy. Boss.
Someone who sets an example. So I would say he needs to be an example.
Good. Black.
White.
White. Black and white. That's good. Either or. That's it. Time.
Is more valuable.
Valuable. That's good. Heart.
Love.
Love. Canada.
Kind.
Kind. That's right. So that's it. That was the segment UNQ. I hope you enjoyed it. I do enjoy this segment a lot. I really love it, and lots of people and they hop on the show just to watch this segment. And some people just fast forward my show and then go to UNQ if they watch this segment and then comment. But thank you so much. So what would be your final message with regards to today's topic that was art and culture to support mental health and overcome depression?
If you look at the entire world, if you go back 100 years or more, you will see that along with math and science, art and culture is an essential part of a child's education. And I think that is because it is the truest form of connection that we can have with peoples around the world. So I would encourage everyone, from kids to adults, to really find that opportunity to express yourself in any form that's creative. And we are so lucky to have technology enhancing these opportunities so that you can share with others and bring joy and happiness. So definitely, when as a child you painted or you like to dance, go back to that, because that inner child of yours is always alive and it's constantly seeking to connect from a space of love. And I think there is no greater expression when you have a painting, song, or anything that is an artful creation, to be able to bring joy to everyone around you. And these are the
Absolutely.
moments that we all live for. And today in lockdown, if you see, we have technology, we have art, and that's what people are sharing. That's what's keeping us all alive. How
That's right.
beautiful it is to be able to share and to do something for each other.
Awesome. Great message. Thank you so much. Someone privately messaged me and she said, Anu sings as well. Do you sing as well?
No, I'm a terrible singer. I think I can state for a fact that I'm tone deaf, but I do like to sing. But I think it's going to only be limited to singing in my shower. But but I love people who sing.
Do
I
you
think it's
do that?
I do, yeah. It's a great way to bring about joy. I think, like I said before, when you're feeling down and low, and those emotions are tending to pull you down, one of the best things you can do is start singing.
That's it.
And the second thing that you can do is actually pretend to smile, because in the beginning it's going to be a little bit fake. But the more you start smiling, what happens is your mind starts to look for things to smile about. And then you
Yeah,
start to flow into a very positive and happy space.
that's it.
And so singing and dancing, these are automatic triggers to the emotional system or the ASMR system in our brain that joyfully take us back to pleasurable moments and times
Awesome.
in our lives. And as you start to expand on that, whatever you're feeling in terms of negative emotions start to disappear. And then you're really able to see a perspective in that experience or in that life moment.
That's right. That's right. So we can do this. I can play a shower sound on my Google Chrome here. You can close your eyes and you think you are in your shower, and then you can sing.
Absolutely. Why not? You can always bring about emotions from experiences that have been positive,
Right.
and it's so necessary. Like little kids, when they're playing in a park and they remember that fun stuff, they might scrape their knee and fall down for a bit, but that experience of joy that they've had even a few seconds ago will quickly
Absolutely.
bring them back
Yeah.
into, they'll brush their knees off, and then they'll go back into that same space.
That's it.
So we need
Exactly.
to be more like kids and not so conscious about being
True.
perfect.
True.
I think it's
True.
more about being real in today's world, and I see more and more people doing that, which is
Awesome.
fabulous.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. I know it was a great show. Thank you so much for your time after such a long time, and really appreciate it. On behalf of Dreams Television, the Aijaz Qureshi Show, myself, my entire team who helps me to run this show, plus my three co-hosts, one from Islamabad, Sadar Naveen, Aijaz Qureshi from Karachi, and Taira, one from Toronto. plus all the viewers who have watched us live on Facebook as well as on YouTube Live. We were live on 2 platforms, plus who have commented, liked, shared, and those people who will be watching our show according to their time zone later on as a recording. Thank you so much for hopping on the show and sharing your great thoughts about the topic. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Viewers, that was Anu Vittal, all the way from Toronto, and great person. I really enjoyed the show. I hope you did too. How can we improve the show and how we can make it better? If you want to listen to or watch to a specific topic, please do let us know. Comments are and your suggestions are most welcome. Thank you so much. With another guest, we'll be back again another day. Thank you so much. Until then, take care. God bless you.